Okay, this video I'm going to be doing a tutorial. It'll be quite a quick one. I know that normally I start off my videos with big energy and everything, but I'm feeling a bit ill today, so you'll have to excuse me. Plus I'm in two minds about whether to do this big energy start to every video. It feels a little bit performative and I'd like to be as genuine as possible. That's kind of the only thing that I can really offer, is being sincere as opposed to being a character. So yeah, so that's why I'm starting this. Also, I'm currently waiting for the podcast to upload. So whilst I'm doing that, I'm going to set the camera up to look over here. I'm going to do the Inktober number 28. Still drawing with my left hand. And I'm going to do a tutorial about drawing complicated things like this. This is my microphone setup. And I thought if I draw it from this angle, something like this angle, something like that I think, then I'm going to do a tutorial about how to draw this type of thing, because I haven't done a tutorial for a while, and even though it's Inktober, it could be quite a nice thing to do. So okay, let's get started. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to look at the vertical lines and get those down first. The reason being is that they are going to show the dimension. So I'm thinking of the microphone somewhere like here, and then the stand post somewhere like there on that side. So they're not that far apart, so I might need to do the microphone here. So let's do some, I'm going to use this grayscale brush pen because it's fairly light. So this is just going to show you what I'm doing inside of my head, really, is this for the microphone. Something like that. And then the stand post is actually quite close, so it might still be on this side. Whatever, I'll do it on this side. And it starts, I'd say, around here. So about there. That's your verticals. And then you've got all these complicated other things that happen. So I start to divide those up. Basically, for the microphone, you have the pop shield. And what I'll do for that is just to have a look at how much of the circle is on this side and then how much is on this side. And you can tell that there's a lot less on this side, so I'm going to go like this. And then that's going to come down. Something like that. It's kind of close enough. You don't need anything to be perfect. Now you've got some complicated things going on in between. So at the top of this stand, we have this bar which comes out. It's a circle to start with. And then you have this cable. The cable curves around. So I'm going to start from the other side. And I'm looking at the gap between the pop shield and it's not a cable really, but it's a flexible adjustable arm. And I'm looking at the distance between those two. And I'm going to say, I tell you what's another good thing to do actually, is that on this bar you have several divides. So you have this top part, and then you have a little section here, and then below that you've got a section like that, and then you've got it divided up like this, where this now has a bracket coming off, which is around there to about there. And that's fairly square. And then from the top of this you have a bar which goes out, and from that bar we are drawing a little stick I'm calling it a stick, you know what I mean. Little blob at the end. That little blob is now going to part the, it's going to connect this adjustable part, which comes up, curves round and down, and then goes inwards towards this. I'm going to follow that again. I look at how high up this goes before I drew it, and how low down it goes as far as markers on how high here and how low here. Now, if you're looking at the reference, you can see that there's actually parts of the microphone that go a little bit lower, go down to about there, I'd say. Again, it's all just going to be an approximation. It doesn't have to be exactly accurate, but it's somewhere like there. I'm going to say the microphone has a cut off here, which is where it goes into this complicated structure of kind of diamond shapes. So in the main centre, I've got a diamond shape here. It goes down to there. And then we've got one where this goes and connects. They've got one which goes out here. Oof, it's actually like that. So it goes out and connects downwards. So it goes down here. Then there's a bar that runs all the way along them. Thicken up these like that. And the same with this. Okay, and then we have one bracket that comes through. I say bracket, it's more like a clip actually, that comes through here, goes a little bit more than halfway, it goes back through there. I'm going to say it's like that. Quite a complicated little thing. At the top of this, we've got some kind of a square block on top of both of these. So that's the blocks. There's also one around there. So let's include it like that. And there's one at the bottom. Okay, now the microphone itself, the top part I would say is like this, all the way to here. Maybe a slight suggestion, curves around there, and then it's something like that. It's not perfectly straight, but if you want to do perfectly straight, I have to angle my wrist over. Something like that. And then this comes down to a line there, and then there is another design of a grip line there. I'm going to go around the circle to show the frame of the pop shield. Not quite so easy, but there we are. That is the difficulty of drawing. Okay, now on here there's a little tightening thing which comes out here. It's like a wheel, like there. And this bottom part I'm now going to contour, which means instead of it being a flat line like that, I'm going to curve it, curved line. And that's because it's going to have the stand. The stand is not massive. Stand is like that. It's quite small, but it's weighty. But I must admit, if I'm not careful, I tip it over. Now, aside from a couple of details, like there's a little thing back here which is round, so I'm going to try and give a bit of a curve back there. And there are lines on this upward like that. and underneath here there's a little tightening blob thingy there. But after that, oh, there's one more clip here. That's pretty much the microphone. So for a complicated structure, that is how I would approach it. I think that's kind of the best way to analyze things like this, is to try and get all of these things just simplified so that they're not the most difficult things to understand. I'm just going to put some basic hatch in here to suggest the microphone, whatever you call it, netting kind of. It's like a wire mesh microphones have. I'm just going to represent that like that. Okay. That is the shape. So what I'm going to do is pause this for a second. Okay, I'm back. Just to get this pen, my Fudenosuke Tombow pen, and to start doing outlines, and maybe to correct certain things that were a little bit off. So for starters, I'm going to make the microphone a little bit thinner, just a little bit, which means that I'm going to go inside these lines slightly. Now what I'm going to do is try to keep it still and straight as possible to get nice lines. Ooh, not so easy. There we are. And then try to get this shape here. And get the curve a bit better this time if I can. Just concentrate, go slow. And then this bar is quite prominent on what I'm looking at, so to let this be the bar that it is. Okay, that's actually much better in my opinion. It represents the truth a lot more in my view. Now this actually curves around the corner, so I'm going to give that a little edge around the corner. And I'm going to make the microphone now this big. So that's now the microphone. And it kind of curves like that. And I'm going to do the same basic effect that I did with the grayscale pen. Because I think that's too much to draw for a quick tutorial. So I'm just going to do that. The same here. Okay, first part down. Let's get some of these bars. In fact, I'm going to correct this line a little bit because it went a bit wobbly. Okay, yeah, that's about as much as I can do. Try and go fairly thin on this line if I can. Ugh, tell you what, when I try to go light on the lines, that's when it wobbles. Oh well, whatever. Now, let's try and do this circle again. Not the easiest thing, but just follow what I've done before and see what happens. Oh, that's not good. Go from this side. Not amazing, but whatever, it's just going to have to be what it is. Because I'm going to try not to hide how much I'm struggling with my left hand. Try to be as honest as possible with what's happening. Okay, and now back through these details. Let's try and do this quicker though. So we've got the clip there. We've got a clip which is like this. And a clip around here as well. Now these I'm going to try to do a little bit closer together. Yeah, it's messy. These are like that. This bar then goes around here. It gets overlapped by this. Which is overlapped by the diamond. Okay. Oh, let's see, the podcast is almost there. Still processing. Okay, now let's try and get this diamond a bit more accurate. What really happens with this diamond is it goes this way, like that. This goes round like that. Oof. And round here. As always, there's definitely tons of mistakes, but I'm trying my best to make it look somewhat close to what I'm looking at. You have to excuse the microphone. I'm using the mobile phone for a microphone because I'm drawing the microphone as a subject, so that's why my audio is usually clearer on the video, but this time is going to be an exception because I'm drawing from reference and I decided that this is quite a nice reference. Ooh, wobbly lines. And there we are. That's that clip. Now, what happens here? I'm now going to add a slight contour because I didn't do that before, which means that I bend the line around here and up there. It's a little bit more than what I'm actually seeing in truth, but I'm trying to correct what I did wrong earlier. This clip goes down here and ends there. Okay, and then you have the microphone coming round like that and back up like that, and then the bottom of the microphone is like this. And it's all just the complicated little bits that it's trying to remember all those really. Now what happens here, this comes out, doesn't it? It comes out and then it goes around and up. So let's meet it from this side, going down here, that connection there. So that connection is going to look like that. And this line is going to curve, follow the first line as opposed to the grey ones. And then up, round and meet it. Up, round, there's the connection. Not great lines there, really quite wobbly and messy. Ooh, does that help? I don't think so. Do the little blob. Like that, and the bar, like that. How has that happened? All I've done is draw the same line again. I must have gone too fast. Okay. And then we've got this post. Let's say, what are we doing? That's the divider for the post. Let's do the post like this, thick. And then this thick. Ideally you correct things that you've done on your first marks, your underdrawing, but in reality what I'm doing is actually making other mistakes whilst trying to correct others. There we are. That is what's happening despite my best efforts. So what I'm correcting on this is the thickness of this, tightening what is it? I don't know, something where you tighten it up. I'm trying to correct that. Let's put this thing on, which is, okay, if this now has a circle around it as well, and another one that has some grips, and then here you have this little mechanism, which is another tightening thing. A few grips on there. That's got a little blob on the end, kind of like that, whatever. Now at the back of here, got this wheel. And I'm going to put some grips on that as well. Connect this together. Now I'll put the contoured base of that, and then the stand. Do from the bottom of the stand. I'm going to make it narrower. Then follow this round. And then try to do the inside line, which is like that, which only fails there. Could be worse. And I think that's it. Oh no, there's a clip here. Goes upwards and I think meets this clip here. So very tricky. Let's put some lines on this bar because I think that'll be good practice for my hand to do. Still trying to train this hand to draw a bit more naturally. Are there any more contours? Oh, maybe on this bit. Contour this, curves, and then as it goes down they straighten out. Okay, well, certainly not perfect. Very, very ropey, but it's a technical piece of equipment, and that is how I analyse and pick apart complicated shapes to simplify them and draw them. Ooh, let's put the line here as well. There's a line here. It looks like there's a line here. All right. Not great line work, but at least it's a tutorial on how to draw something like this. Now this is going to bother me, so I'm going to straighten this out. There's no erasing the first line, but if you draw a second line that's neater, you can sometimes just, I don't know, make yourself feel a bit better about trying to correct that mistake. And in my mind, that actually looks better. I don't know if it does to you or not, but because I've kind of put the other mark, I feel better about the circle. I mean, there's kind of problems here as well, but oh, can I even correct it, or am I going to make it worse? Can't even see what I'm drawing. Well, it's something. There we are. For now, that is done. Yeah. A bit too contoured. That's done. So there's my tutorial on how to draw complicated shapes. I hope that made sense. I hope it was helpful. If you need to, like I did, use a lighter pen, like a grayscale brush pen, or a pencil, which I don't do anymore, but I used to do, and map out the shapes first. So what I did was I mapped out the microphone first, the stand second, and then picked off all the other spaces, like the circle, the little clips, and just measuring things horizontally and vertically. So long as you can see this is about here on the microphone and this bottom part goes to about there, it certainly doesn't go to this lower part. That's all you need, is some kind of general gauge of where things peak and drop to. And then you've got an approximation of the subject. Okay, that's it. Alright, so that's the tutorial done. I think that was tricky in certain areas, but it's quite a nice shape. It's quite a tricky, you know, different things to try and get correct. But there we are. That is my tutorial on how to do complicated subjects and break it down into certain shapes. I hope that was useful. If you did like the video, please leave a like, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell, share this with any friends or family who might enjoy it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.